and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are once again going live, and we have our game lining up, coming up
Oh,
soon.
it's a spicy one, Boyd. It's a spicy one. I'm gonna take you back in time, baby. We actually have the heavy hitters meta. We're gonna have Victor versus KO. Both won their first round, so this is awesome.
All right, and it looks like our players are just setting up here. I will head on over to their camera. So we have on the left we have our player, our local person, Elton Allman, playing Victor. He's been a fan of Guardian for a little bit. I think he used to play Dromai, but well, he swapped. He likes big attacks.
That's a quite a drastic swap from the Dragon Empress herself to Mr. Daddy's boy, golden child, Victor.
Maybe he likes characters with a rich history.
Rich history. Oh, and then we also have. Do you know about? You know about Elton?
Yes, Elton is a local player for us, so I'm a little bit familiar with him. He's a younger guy, teenager, I think, and he shows up to his armories every week. Very nice guy. I like playing against him, and he has very clear weaknesses, but he also has some very good strengths, where sometimes he can play in ways that no one expects him to, which can hurt him, but it can also help him sometimes in interesting ways.
Yes.
And on the other hand, we have Nick Palmer.
Yes, he's from Karlstad, so not local, but a Swedish hero.
Relatively local.
Close enough. I like he's. What we're talking about is that we send out a survey for all the players to look for to write in fun facts and things about themselves. And Nick's fun trivia about himself is that he likes to unga bunga.
Exactly, and that is probably why we are seeing him on the Kano player, on the KO player. Sorry, I always mix those names up, Kano and KO.
Yeah,
I get the wordplay, but it's a rough one to.
Yeah, it's like have you played Elden Ring?
Yes.
So all the names are George, R, or M.
Yes, exactly. But in this case, KO or Brute, bringing out the trusty claw as you will want to do. And we see nothing too special in the equipment suit there. We have our Scowling Flashback, we have our Sash, we have our Apex Predator, and we do see the scab skins. Some players prefer the
what is it called? Ooh, I know exactly what card you are thinking about.
Yeah, the name escapes me, but it's the boots that rather than rolling a die to see if you get extra action points, you can crack them when you discard a 6-cost attack.
Yeah, it's the consistent way, and you have the people who like to gamble. It's beaten trackers, it's called.
Those are the ones. And it looks like we're going into the game here. We seem to we're starting off, and we have Elton here immediately opening up with a buckling blow, and we see 2 blocks with 2 CNCs, which I would be not unhappy to see 2 CNCs immediately go into the graveyard.
Victor doesn't usually play defense reactions, but you are always happy to see that disruption card go away, and also Nick with a clever discard to filter his hand and get the might token.
Exactly, and this might token is setting him up. He's throwing the pulping down immediately.
Here comes the pulping, and now the player will randomly discard a card. Toss the dice, boom. Let's see. Oh my god, it's a 6. Who would have thought, Boyd?
In KO, I had an inkling that would be the case, Peter.
Yeah, we don't have his deck list, but there are some players who have like cut almost all the non-attacks just to always have the consistency of making those draw discard not that random. And here we see from Elton is quite a spicy hand. Pummel, CNC, I think, and at least another mystery card.
Yes, it looks like he is blocking with the cranial. He only gets the block with one hand because that pulpin was active, so it does have dominate.
Yeah.
And that means that we're seeing an agile wind up with a follow-up coming in for 6.
So this is KO's default game plan. Trying to get 13 damage every turn and using their cards efficiently.
Exactly. And we're seeing that Elton choosing to block with that pummel, given how he's not going to be able to use it on his turn, most likely. Um, so we see him using the Seismic Surge and pitching a blue to
Make a new one, most likely.
make a new one, as you do.
Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of Victors doesn't usually play the Seismic Surge package. They usually like the Tunic, I think.
Yeah, I think Tunic is right because Tunic is always basically Tunic means that if you have only one card in your hand, even if it's a red, you can still throw out that pummel on top of whatever attack you just played.
Yeah, and also Tunic lets you get the fat stacks of cash that Daddy loves and get yourself some might. Here we see a claw attack with a might. So KO is running defense reactions, which is an interesting in this matchup.
I think that's something that we've seen lately a bit. We saw when KO first came out, we saw people running a little bit less 6 attacks. We saw 3 Blood Rush Bellows, and people usually threw in the 3 Cast Bones. And then we kind of went to that meta where people stopped playing the Cast Bone and it's just the Blood Rush Bellows. But we are occasionally seeing like 1 or 2 Reckless swings back in just to close out those games. And we see Nick cleverly pitch stacking it for himself here for the later in the game.
Yeah, because there are no cards that shuffle the deck in the Brute deck, right? Or usually that you don't play.
I believe there is the one that lets you pick 3 random cards from your graveyard and then you gain life equal
Oh yeah,
to the
dig
6.
up dinner.
That is it.
Brute cards are so funny, man. Smack with big 3, dig up dinner. So for all the viewers there that might wonder, how did the claw go again? That's because in reaction step, Nick decided to discard the Agile windup to turn on the claw and get himself 2 nice tokens.
Yes, and this is an interesting one as well, because these tokens are nice, but we see Elton swinging back with a choke slam, which the crush effect of that says
Ooh.
if it crushes, your opponent is not able to draw cards, so it shuts down Blood Rush Bellow entirely.
Oh yeah, no, this is the one that prevents gaining damage, my friend Boyd.
You are correct.
So they would not be able to get anything. It's very interesting that Nick chose to block with the Agile Windup, as is one of the cards that rewards you from having an agility token. But this is a favorite play of Aurora players all around the world. CNC would go again. That means we draw, baby.
Indeed, and we can also sort of see that that Enlightened Strike is coming in. He's choosing to do it's not the extra damage. How is it getting to 7?
He has 2 mites because he blocked with the gauntlet, and he chose to. I meant Enlightened Strike, drawing a card, not CNC.
Yes, because it's gonna get the go again.
Oh,
off that agility.
here comes the clash! Boom! Oh, that's a miss for Victor, and I don't think you use your gold here. You just give them the might and be like, okay, fine. You rather want to draw the 4 block for the next turn. Yes. And another Agile Windup. Nick really hates attacking with the claw. He just want to send the big attacks, and it makes sense.
Yes.
This is 5 damage, and you don't want to arsenal that card.
Why would you use your 1 arm if you can use your 1 arm for more damage? Peter?
True, that makes also sense. So here we see Elton blocking with almost everything, and I think they're just going to pitch for Seismic and try to set up for the next turn.
Exactly. Let's see what he can do. He's got a pummel in arsenal, so he is opting simply to pitch his only red to just make a Seismic and call it a day. He's trying to kind of stem the bleeding.
Yeah.
Even though 26 to 34,
Ooh.
maybe not where you want to be.
A raise face, that's interesting. Usually that's not a card that comes in this matchup. Ooh. Here's the Unga Bunga Nick wanted to do 9 for 2.
Yes, and the swing big has been a brute popular one for a long time. It's 2 for 8 normally, which is pretty much over 8. But the reason that it sort of gets away with that is because if you block it out, you do get that quicken token, and that is against a lot of decks. It doesn't matter. Like if you play that against Zen, he's going to be all my cards have gold again anyway. But
Guardian though.
Guardian sometimes can do very disgusting things with that.
Oh, here we see Clash. Oh, he doesn't win. There's a blue and a blue. This is also like the problem of the Victor deck against KO. They have so many 6 attacks, so you have to like hit the red attacks on the top of your deck. And Elton smartly choose not to sacrifice their shield because then they would take damage from the swing big and not get the quick hit token.
Yes, and it's indeed what you were saying is very much true. It's usually when you play a deck that clashes like Victor, you can kind of count on winning most of your clashes, but Brutes and other Guardians are the two classes where you can't really count on that all the time. And we are seeing that come into play here with Nick revealing a lot of high power attacks from the top of his deck and Elton not winning any clashes so far.
Yeah, the dice should be at 1. They probably not realized that it says on 2. And here we see the erase phase coming in with Quicken. So they're probably not having a follow-up after this.
And we see a full equipment block for 6 coming out, so that can only mean one thing, Peter.
Oh, it's time for the biggest card. Oh, that's why they play erase phase, to turn off the brute class, so you don't get the brute bonuses. There it is, the key card.
Coming out, a blue to the pit.
Oh,
ooh, a Blood Rush Ballad. That's not when how you want to see that.
No, you really want the blue. There's the blue. But cleverly, Nick doesn't go to the casino and try to gamble.
Exactly. It never works out.
The house always wins.
Yes.
Into the pulping we knew about in the arsenal. Draws another card. So now, Balance of Justice is online. So it's going to be interesting to see if Elton chooses to use it.
Exactly. Especially against that pulping, it's a good choice to block with because the pulping it was activated, so it has dominate. So being able to stem some of the bleeding with some equipment seems like the move here.
Yeah. So possibly he's opting to keep the.
It is possible that I think he's hovering his hand or he's considering it, but it is possible that he's thinking there may be another Intimidate coming up later and he might want to save some equipment for that.
And KO is going to draw more cards, so there's an argument not to pop the helm at the first given opportunity.
That is true. We see one Blood Rush Battle is going to the bottom of the deck, so it'll be a bit before we see that, but there's another one somewhere in there, and it could be the next hand.
And here's the last CNC. So, does Elton want to protect his pummel in Arsenal?
Yes, it looks like he is hanging on to a Choke Slam and a Cranial Crush. And he does have that Seismic, so he's trying to hang on to that so he can probably just pitch the Cranial to go with the Choke Slam.
Yeah, that's a pretty good turn. It counters the Blood Rush, but you have to give all your equipment to not lose it here.
Exactly. You could also choose to just take the damage, but then you are going down to 15, and you're still looking down 2 Blood Rushes eventually in this game, so that is a bit of a scary place to be against Brute.
Yes, that's Wizards have like the kill threshold. Well, he's choosing to sacrifice to get rid of the pummel.
Exactly, blocking with the helm too.
Sometimes you gotta let things go, Boyd.
Yes.
You can be stubborn, try to hold on, but sometimes in life you just have to let it go.
And I will say, pummel is also one of those cards where just the hint of it can be scarier than sometimes the pummel itself.
True. You put the fear of God into your opponent. Like, wait, you had it there for so long. Exactly. Elton is quite down in this race, but definitely not out. He has not seen his power card, the Wizard, the Golden Estate, or Besök Papa, as it's lovingly called in Sweden.
Exactly. We'll see what he can come up with. He is down some equipment, but on the other hand, that's also definitely worth keeping in mind. Nick is down most of his equipment. Everything has blocked at least once, so he still has something left there, but
yes,
he can no longer do what he did the previous turn, where it's just block 6 with all of his equipment to keep the Blood Rush. If there is disruption, he's going to have to give cards to prevent it from happening.
That's also true. So they the Piper has to be paid in some ways.
Exactly. Let's see what we are looking at now. We see the Claw still coming in, but the Claw was coming in with the Might, the Trounce neatly blocking that. But it looks like no clashes were won that day again by Victor.
Trounce is a very strong card, but also notoriously hard to win 2 clashes in a row, especially when the only gold you have is your shield.
And your opponent is playing Brute.
Yeah. But here's a certified Hood Classic Chokeslam coming in for 9. What does this do again, Boyd?
This one is the Spinal Crush.
Oh yeah, there all these words, man.
But
Card.
that one, yeah, I always joke a little bit that at some point they're gonna have to stop printing Guardian cards because there's only so many synonyms for Smash and Destroy that you can come up with.
That's true.
But this is the one that would prevent Go again, which also will shut down Blood Rush Bellow. So we do at least see 6 blocks against that.
Yes, and especially when you have already an agility on the board, you really want to like use it, but you have to pay with at least 6 block.
Exactly.
He's thinking, is it claw or no? We're going for wild ride.
He was thinking about that claw, but he does the wild ride at the end of the day. Not really anything else going on, so he just discards the Wrecker Romp he gets, that 1 blue 6 power. If Reiner were here, he would give the card a shout out. I will do it in his stead.
Oh, clash, boom! Oh, he loses the clash, so now he has to pay his friend, take the money, take the gold.
And that's how you see it. That's what we were talking about earlier in this match, how it's very possible for Victor not to do so well in the clashes against Brood. And I think he's lost every single clash he has thrown up this game, and that makes life very hard for Victor.
It's certainly not easy. It's it's gonna be an uphill battle for sure. But he's hanging on. Here we see a good CNC, probably a card that the KO player cares about.
Exactly. He does have that arsenal. Did you catch what he put in the arsenal?
No, I was a little distracted, but he definitely cares about it because
protecting it.
Protecting it as one should if you care about something. But here's the problem with the KO deck. They use 2 cards and they still send back. That's 9 damage for 1 card.
Oof, yes, the Bear Fangs is always been a... It's funny that it's such a classic in KO. It doesn't really do anything but just add more damage, but it does it in such a way that it is a card that's rough to be up against. You're never happy to see that play against you.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about Brute, you think you doesn't necessarily think about peak efficiency. Oh, here we see a lost clash, and if KO wins the second one, oh, thank God, there's a Golden Sun, and so now he will get kind of payout because even though he didn't win 2 clashes, he still won 1 clash. So the Golden Sun will create a gold and draw the Golden Sun.
Exactly, and that is something that if I were in Elton's shoes, I would very much enjoy seeing, considering how far this game has gone for him.
Yeah, I love that Elton gives himself the tiny gold because he's so far behind him on the clashes.
But well, the tiny gold is still a gold, even if it's only technically half a gold. But let's not get into the specifics there.
Yeah. So Seismic pops, and he has an E-Strike, a Golden Sun. So he can't get the Golden Sun into the arsenal in any meaningful way. So he's probably just gonna send the E-Strike.
Exactly. We see it going out there. And this is actually a strange scenario where you see a weird kind of downside of E-Strike is that if that other card was a blue, he would not be able to pitch it to make a Seismic and then still play the E-Strike, because E-Strike forces you to bottom it.
Yeah,
which is almost never a downside, but in this situation it could have been.
Yeah.
But it's still not, which is why it's a great card.
True. E-Strike, E-Strike, E-Strike. It has been played very much. So interesting to see Nick blocking with the rattle bones. No, not the rattle bones. The cast bones. And I think, Boyd, the reason he decided to block with it is because he has not drawn the second Blood Rush yet. And it might be on the top. Yeah, here we see the players fix the shield. Good catch. Oh no, there is Berserk Papa.
He found the Goldmine estate, and to the bottom it
goes. So this is rough. At least he won half a clash, so you don't have to give KO all the sweet stuff.
Okay, yeah, this is always tough to see because Victor really wants to be winning those clashes, and again, he can reliably do that against most decks, but not this one.
Yeah, so here we saw Elton take damage, but yet the claw got go again. Oh, because he had 2 cast bombs in his hands. Do you know why the claw still got go again even after damage, Boyd?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I think there's a judge watching, so if there was shenanigans in play, then it probably would have been called out.
Yeah, and I also know. I just wanted to test it. Oh, here we see 1 miss, but 5 hits, and he already has a might. So then, ding, 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 you get all the things you want. So, combat in Flesh and Blood is actually quite many steps, but a lot of players skips some of the last steps because for some players it's usually just go to you go to blocks, reaction, damage. But after damage, there's something called link step and resolution step.
Mm-hmm.
And in resolution, that's where the card needs to have go again before resolution, because that then you resolve all the end of like the combat chain. That's when new triggers or when you somersault cards back to hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it in link step, it's still after damage, but you still get the go again.
Oh, but he did discard the card from hand.
Yes.
That is the one I missed.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's why I got go again. Yeah.
Yes, but you are right. I do know that there is a strange amount of sort of complexity underneath the surface that we will most likely see at some point later during the day if we see any
Yes.
of these auroras. Do well.
Aurora is like an aggro deck, but it's like a very tactical aggro deck because there's a lot of outplays you can do if you know all the interactions with like Gone in a Flash and when you play your Lightning Valley. So it's also interesting to see that even though the certified Onga Bunga deck, there's still some finesse and some skill expression. So now Elton has actually managed to kind of even the life total, but here it comes. Is that the biggest lightning strike you've seen in your life?
Let's see. He's not. He doesn't have to give it go again, and
No.
he has damage. So he's probably just going to draw a card
Yeah,
off of that.
He drew a card, and so it's 11.
It is coming in for yes, and I think that is the main reason that Elton was able to even the life totals, because Nick was just saying, "Bring it! I'll take whatever you've got. I've got a full cast bones. I've got go again. Anything in my hand, I'm just gonna play and throw at you."
Yeah, so and here also we see the problem. Another Goldman estate is probably going to be blocking. Block for 6, take 5.
Not where you want to block in for 6 and still taking 5 is.
Yeah, it's certainly a oof on my ögonblick. Here we see a discard to get back another might, and still attack for 6 with go again. So the interesting thing here is, if there's a 2-cost attack, this turn is not over. The beatings will stop until morale improves.
Exactly, or until the health total drops
Yeah.
low enough.
So here's an interesting thing. Now Elton decided to block with equipment because if you had used it on the E-Strike, it would have lost 1 damage.
Yes.
So now you're losing out on 1 value from.
But he's giving his opponent the quicken now, when like an opponent might have 1 more attack, but certainly he's not going to have 2. But
Yes.
he elects not. If he has one, he elects not to play it to hang on to that quicken. So I can see the decision point, but it could be that Elton ends up shooting himself in the foot a little bit.
Yeah. So here we have to go gambling. We need we need this 1 more hit. 1 more hit, man. So let's see if he draws a 2-cost red attack. That would be sweet.
We see
That is Cranial Crush. It's a big blue attack. So
that is
certainly
going
not.
to do it. He can at least pitch that into the hammer.
Yeah, so you can do something. It's not exactly what you want, but it's better than nothing.
Yes, and at least KO is low enough that he needs to consider that. Like, he might still take it, but he needs to respect a little bit.
Yes.
Because now he is down to 13.
Yes, and I do believe still that Elton still has at least 1 block 4 or more in the deck. Oh, but there it is.
Yes, I was about to say. Because I was thinking, if he plays a Wild Ride and then catches a Bloodroar's Bellow and it whiffs, there is some good opportunity for Elton to turn this game back in his favor and maybe take the tempo and kill Nick. But we just see the Blood Rush being played out. And
Yep, that's why they still play Cast Bones, because Cast Bones and then Arsenal, the Blood Rush, is still very, very, very strong.
we do see a test of strength in the hand for Elton. So he does have that 4-block going for him. There is a good chance he won't die from the damage that's coming in, but even if he doesn't, it's probably going to cost him his whole hand.
Yeah, so
And even then, that is a very swing big with a capital B.
yeah, it lives up to the name. Most definitely swinging big. So how do you block here? You have to give, I think you just have to give your entire hand and be very sad that you lose your might.
Yes, I don't think you're going to be able to hang on to that might.
Ooh.
Um,
Here we see a clash, and it's another not another draw into another draw. No, actually, it's a lose. Oh my god, this is the
that's
worst timeline.
yes. This is a rough match, but I will say it is a little bit closer than you would expect it because Elton has lost almost every single clash. He's only really won like half clashes of that trounce. He did get a golden sun that one time, but I think he's lost 5 clashes or so. Um, Yet we still see him with a life total that's not that far. He's not 30 life down on KO, and ooh, I've had games like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the deck is really powerful, but it has some inconsistent problems where you can get in. You can screw yourself by the draw discard, and here Nick Palmer points out that it has go again. We draw a card. Maybe it's enough to help us. We really want to keep one card.
Yes, you want to at least swing with the hammer, if nothing else. Put some because if you have to give your whole hand and get rid of the mites, then to KO, he is going to have some sort of aggression. Like
Yeah.
if you ever get on the back foot against KO, the only way you come back is if he plays a
He's cracking the gold, looking for better cards.
oh, that's just driving in the needle.
Oh,
Yes, and this is yeah, this is
eight.
gonna
This is rough. So he can survive and take 0, but then you have to give go again to KO. I think. Is there possible to block with the gloves? No, it's still too much.
he's going to block 7. It looks like
Yeah, and then you're in the very scary 2 range.
exactly.
But
But I think this game has gone poorly enough for Elton with his clashes that I think at this point you kind of have to say like it is what it is. If you draw the swing, then you have the swing. I'm
yeah,
gonna need
actually,
to try
you
something.
think you prefer that they draw the swing, so they're kind of stuck in their hand. But it's like it's very rough from this position.
Yeah, exactly.
They drew the swing.
And they're choosing to pitch it as well. They're saying we don't even need this to close the game out. We're just going to go for it.
Let us see. There's another 6 because of Chaos ability, making everything +1 when not on the chain.
So we are getting rid of that. That means that we've got 8 dominate coming in with the 2 my tokens, which I think
It should be game.
we have 2 block plus we have 5 block total, so we're still taking 3 at the moment.
Good
and we see the fist
game.
bump given. That is it for Elton. Trying his hardest and clashing a lot, and sadly not making the clashes.
Yeah.
happen.
So I think that he really wanted to play against like the Sens and Auroras of the meta, so kind of unlucky running into one of the 5 KOs. But I think he played well. He played, but like the Blood Rush Bellow is just so good card. So it's very hard to get out of the squeeze when you are stuck in it.
Exactly, and we sort of saw a straight up game from both players. We see
Yeah.
KO doing KO things. There wasn't anything too funky going on. He saw the blood rushes. He had 2 in his hand at some point, but was smart enough to pitch 1 to
Yeah.
the other, and it kind of just it came along for him.
Yeah. It felt like KO was able to do their thing, but Victor never got to do their thing. And when you don't have a hero power, your deck is substantially weaker than against the deck that is firing off all the cylinders. We will be back shortly. Stay a while. Thank you so much for watching, and keep watching. There will be more amazing games.